Hey everybody, welcome to the pre-market analysis that we open up to the public every single Wednesday. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is Spartan speaking, by the way. Going to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what's going to happen this morning. So once I'm done here with this little intro, Beth's going to pop on. She's going to be going through any of the bigger picture items that make sense to be looking at today, as well as in the news events, ETFs, bigger cap names, etc., etc. Once that's done, I'm going to come back on. We're going through the names that are gapping up, gapping down. I'll go through the news that are associated with those names, go through the technicals, build an action plan for them, as well as go through the SPY, the FANG, the VIX, the Qs, and the IWM. After that's done, Sal Beach will pop on. He'll go through any of the bigger cap names from the macro perspective, any individual names as well that he's looking at for today. And then we'll do a quick little recap of those individual names that I talked about at the beginning, and we'll be ready to go. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Beth, and I will talk to you guys shortly. Beth, if you're ready, all yours.
I am indeed. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome Wednesday morning here, pre-market at SpartanTrading.com. This is what we do every day, as long as the market is open. We have so much fun, so much to talk about today as well. China, definitely going to be on my theme today. A lot of things falling into place in terms of my narrative. Should show the Fed continues to grind higher here. Right? We had so many Fed heads yesterday. Oh my God. You look, South Beach and I have been very articulate about this. This shouldn't be happening. I long for the good old days when there was just one Fed head talking, the chairman, Paul Volcker, Greenspan, yada, yada. Anyways, interestingly enough, there was a build on the API numbers. That was kind of interesting, right? Inflation, look, they're lying. I know it sounds harsh. There's no way. They've got a real problem. I mean, they have to do quantitative easing. The economy's slowing down. They got interest rates. Everybody keeps talking about recession. Yeah, I know, but when you have a commodity super cycle, it's really hard to get to the recession instead of the stagflation. It's really, really hard. And the way they're going about it, it's going to be years before we get to, to the point where they've raised rates enough. And then what about the countries that actually have to cut rates? It's a veritable disaster. I don't want to say shit show, but anyways, I'm being polite. Okay. Inflation rate out of Germany. Now, I believe their numbers because they're very, very good at it. Plus, it's a final number. So it should be spot on, right? Mortgage back. There's a really large increase going on in ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, which won't end well, but and people missed it. I just, for months and months and months, I kept saying what a gift it was to lock in 30-year mortgage, 3%, under 3%. The statistical average, the mean is 5.5% right now. We're basically getting there. There's such a disconnect in terms of Fed funds, interest rates, crazy stuff going on. Yield curve steepening, that's what we want to see. That's what central banks want to see. They don't want to see an inversion. CPI. Doesn't matter, you bet it does, because everybody thinks right now, and let them think this, that the worst is over in terms of interest rates, inflation. God bless their little hearts. You keep thinking that. When you're in a commodity super cycle, by definition, it's a 5 to 10 year cycle, minimum 5 years, and it tends to average closer to 10 years. So let's say 7.5 years. What creates in the definition of commodity super cycle, once again, is the breadth across all different commodities, the price spikes. This is what it means, a commodity super cycle. It's not just oil. When you look at the 1970s, for the most part, it was the oil embargo, it was an oil paradigm. The paradigm now is because of supply chains, all kinds of other things, processing, cost of fertilizer, weather, all kinds of stuff. You have it in agriculture. You have it in steel. You have it in commodities. You have it in rare earth minerals, EV, all kinds of stuff. The beat goes on. All right, EIA numbers coming out. Let's see what happens there. Thank God. No Fed heads today. Earnings. Okay, you know the drill. See what's going on here. Let's update this. We've had a preponderance of surprises, continuation on the upside. I mean, look at this list, friends. Okay, well, actually, we need today. Here we go. Look at this. Now, today was the first day we saw a lot more red on the downside surprises, like Wendy's. Interesting, right? But to be honest with you, I don't think it's as bad as everybody was thinking. Fireworks, well, you know the drill on that one. Anyways, mergers and acquisitions. This is kind of interesting. This is from our gal Lizanne. It actually picked up quite a bit. We know, I mean, we're seeing it on the bio side. We are starting to see more valuation type. And this is what one would expect, but I don't think we're going to see the wow ones. like Activision, stuff like that. I think we're going to see more like, well, the Pfizer was kind of interesting, right? But today we got chicken soup and red, anyways, red box. I don't know. Okay, so what do we got? Gail Eunice. Yeah, we don't think that China's a sustainable. So they're pissed at the WHO. Yeah, but I mean, there was an interesting article, and I'll show you why. It's interesting because the actuarial death toll, they're saying if they don't do it because of the size of the country, right? You're talking millions of fatalities if they don't do this. That's why it's all optics, right? And that's actually, I guess, saving lives. Fed owns treasury, fine. What they should be printing, I want to know who owns stock. Okay, outside the US, Japan central bank is the largest holders of their equity, and they continue to buy. This is what I want to see what these central banks are doing. We get every couple of years, they do print it and show us what the holdings look like. Switzerland is robust. Germany, I mean, like I say, let's just see what happens here. I want to see what, Treasury's okay. Believe it or not, China and Japan. All right, moving along. All right, Chinese news, infrastructure, you keep talking. All right, so like I say, there was an actuarial study that says if they did not do the zero COVID, they could risk 1.6 million deaths. I think that's actually understating it, but yeah, but I don't know. The trade-off is the economy stupid. I don't know. It's a tough call because COVID's not going away. This is the new flu, right? Because flu is COVID, right? China's securities regulator pledges action to shore up China's region's worst performing stock market. Yeah, we know, says route isn't over. Yeah, not really. Get your act together, friends. Guess what? We're talking about China today. I haven't talked about it in a while. So I'm going to just say. China stocks rise as easing COVID outbreak lifts sentiment. Whatever. Look, quantitative easing. We know here in the United States firsthand what can happen to stocks if a country does quantitative easing. Guess what? This is my narrative for months, and it's playing out. Okay, QE. Stock market is freaking out because of the end of money. It has to do with the friends. For those of you who are not old enough to understand what the Fed put is, please. This was coined with Greenspan. It's a great article. We're here to educate. Educate yourself. You have access to information that's mind-blowing for someone like myself, who used to wait for the Financial Times to come in, the print. It was a badge of honor when you had ink on your hands because you read the Financial Times, Wall Street Journal as well. Nobody does this. It's a wondrous world we live in. That's all I have to say. I marvel at what you have access to. Even on the charting side, I marvel. Be appreciative, be thankful, educate yourself. It's a great article. Anyways, Kathy. See, that's all I have to say. All right, CPI, let's see what happens. See what the data looks like. Bond yield SIP back from CPI data before CPI data. I hate it when the market's up like this, but look, if the data is benign, this market's going to rip. Look, we're oversold, we're extended. I mean, technically, you know that. I showed you yesterday how a lot of ETFs basically retrace to the 50% fib from the rally off of the COVID low. I don't know, we'll see what happens. What do we got? Markets looks for signing very peak. Yeah, messes. Look, walk the walk, talk the talk, put up or shut up. This half point move, shock and awe. Let's do it. But the thing is, if and we've talked about this as well, if they, with the balance sheet, selling it is a double tightening. We know this, okay? I mean, Fed funds, but the Fed funds should be at least 4%. Hey. Okay, Fed's Waller says now is the time to hit it on, yeah, now you're talking. Well, that's because it was well, anyways, you fit, they still get an F, guys, gals, peeps, peepettes. I mean, the Fed is an F until they really get serious about it. China inflation is further unlike the pensions bad year. We know, U.S. and China's Putin, we know. Draghi urges Biden to foster a long-term peace plan for Ukraine. Okay, whatever. Mortgage refi boom is running. Oh, yeah. All right. This is it. This won't end well. Excuse me. The people missed it. They didn't lock it in. Now they're going to go with the short end. It's not going to end well. It's just not. But they have to do it, right? Dollar. Okay, this is why the dollar, this is a great article on the dollar and the problems a strong dollar causes globally. Please read it. Okay. Don't forget. Commodities. All commodities, according to dollars. End of story. All right, let's see what's going on here in terms of an insider trades cracks. Nice. Okay. Some nice highs. TNDM. I heard this is really this is really interesting. That's a lot of money. Watch this. This is what we're starting to see more of is insider buying. Pretty good size coming through. That's what we want to see in certain names that are beaten down. Okay, it's important. It does support it. Okay, FNKO. This is interesting. This is their chief creative officer. Okay, whatever. Sold some. LSCC, Lattice as well. And then obviously EW, this was all tied to options, which is very common, not unusual. Okay, what happened yesterday? Transports, semi-analog, hotels, motels, yada, yada, yada. What was the worst? There you go. Aerospace, special services, retail. Okay. Flows. Let's take a peek. All right, so we had buying, interesting, in after hours. I find this fascinating when this happens. Okay, I just find it fascinating. Qs as well as SPY. Just say. And this DM slipped in right at the end. Look at that. Interesting. Yesterday, 51.49. So we're still, we're getting constructive setups for a continuation bounce. You know the drill, right? Tesla actually more put buying than call buying, but what's nice to see is we are starting to see stock volume, not so much on the option side, but more on the equity side, which is okay, right? SoFi being hyped. Let's look at upgrades, downgrades. This is something that South Beach will go into detail with. Now, I still don't, Beard, seriously, hang your head, Jim. I hate it when they do that. They basically do upgrades, but they lower the price. Whatever. All right, let's see. NOVT, William Blair, Brian, 60% success rate, 19.9% upgraded, average return. All right, let's do it. This is really interesting. Okay, let's talk. Okay, so the percentage increase is in the top 8% over 40 years, guys. This is really something. Okay, really something. Right? So the speed in which this market runs is amazing. The way in which it does these things. What would normally take years takes days, right? Weeks. I don't know. So what does it mean when this happens? Short-term bearish. Okay, this is 75%. But you go 2, 3, 6, 1 year out, it's bullish. This goes back to 1984. Just saying. 2018, 20, I don't know, but I'm just saying, a negative for overseas markets and commodities. This is really interesting. Okay. So interest rates will go up. This is when the 2-year yield, after this happens, tightens to greater than 2% from 1 year low. Okay. Interest rates go up. Other indices, fascinating, right? Dollars up, commodities are up 3, 6, 1 month out. Oh, this is kind of fascinating. Look at this, the sectors, staples. Look at this sea of green. Fascinating. Even the financials start to kick in. I don't know. All right. Does the spike in 52-week low suggest capitulation? Cost about the 30%. Let's take a peek. This goes back to 1929. Yeah, ish. Okay, so the reason why I say ish is because if you look at the 20s, right, 29, 30, look at it. 3 months out, 18.7, 1 year out, 31, 46, 61%. So this is the penultimate question, right? If they get it wrong, we're going to probably 40% decline. We got over halfway there on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff already got there, but in terms of some of the indices, right? The sectors, yes, you know the drill, okay? This is the key question that we have to ask. And if you kick these out, right, on the decline, then it's, like I say, it's around 35%, something like that, okay? I don't know, I'm just asking, I'm just saying. S&P 500 after New York Stock Exchange 52-week close as a percentage of issues traded above the 30%. It's bullish. This is days out. So what is it saying? Expect a bounce. All right, McClellan oscillator basically confirming that we can bounce, right? We got the sectors, everything saying, yeah, it's all extended on the downside, we can bounce. The green, 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 even the XLE instead of dark red is, all of this was reset, okay? So that's positive. So yeah, we can bounce. Money flows, nothing there. I mean, literally nothing there. All right, let's do it. All right, I want to show you, this is natural gas. All right, so what happens? So this is the COT. This is a commitment of traders. It comes out Tuesday, right after the close. So that includes, it's Tuesday to Tuesday, right? Okay. So what are we seeing? We're basically seeing hedges, reducing the hedges, but speculators, usies and measies, they're out of it. If you look at the futures, they're actually short, net short. It's so much fun. I'm having a great time, right? Fearless. You have to be fearless. Okay, that bounce, let's do it. I mean, we have to wait, right, for CPI data. But anyways, let's take a look at, this is mortgage delinquency. So this is actually doing okay-ish, right, coming back down. So this is 5 1-year adjustable rate mortgage. Look at this, guys, gals, friends. Look at the increase going on here. I cannot believe people did not take advantage of the gift that was given to them to lock in mortgage. I cannot believe this. But it's true. Look at the difference here. Continues to rise. These are adjustable rates. 5.115. All right, effective Fed funds rate. Let's talk. Once again, from a historical perspective, minimally, like I said, with this sort of inflation, okay, so this is GDP as an indicator of recession, not there, flatlining. Okay, so here we are in terms of inflation, right? Last time we were this high, right? This is, Fed funds was almost 10%. This is why it's a joke what they're doing at the FOMC. It's a joke. Shock and awe. Let's do it. Okay, so this is this right here is the recession probability. It's so freaking ass low, guys, gals. It's still crazy ass low. All right, let's take a look here. 1030 yield curve is steepening. Here's the 10-2 yield curve is steepening. So this is what the Fed can do. We've talked about this, and this makes the most sense. They want the yield curve to steepen. A lot of people are losing a lot of money on this tape. Okay, the other side of that as well is, and Twins has been pointing it out, it makes perfect sense. If you're gonna go into bonds, you're not gonna go in the long end. You're gonna go in the short end. In a rising interest rate environment, so you're gonna buy the long end. That one also allows the yield curve to steepen. All right, let's do it. Here's the 5-year, haven't broken out, top end of the range. Here's the 2-5, you can see. This is kind of interesting though. It's flagging. I don't know, we'll keep an eye on that one. Here's the 5-10 pulled back, but it actually is reclaiming the 78.6% fib. So the short end, it's gonna be interesting. Long end is steepening, but the short end is still sloppy choppy. Okay, here's the 10-year got rebuffed at this double top. We now have a triple top in place. Here's the Chinese bonds. Once again, I've been telling you they have to lower their rates. Okay. Here's the UK gilt. Here's that. So you can see that. And then we got a little bit of a double top there as well. This is going higher, right? I mean, how can it not? And here's the German, got rebuffed as well. Okay, at this quadruple top. Dollar, let's take a peek. Still hasn't broken and held above this pivot point. This is a monthly, so we got quadruple top on it. It should break. I can't imagine it not. Once again, the Chinese new one, remember, whatever you want to call it, spot on this one, nailed it from 630 something. I guess we're going to consolidate here. I wouldn't be surprised to see us bouncing around these two fibs for a while. Cryptos. Gold up, oil up, everything's up, DBC. This is going to be consolidative. I see no problem with this. This is a long-term swing. We got on at such great rates. I don't care. Natural gas. Oh my goodness gracious, friends. Nailed it low yesterday on the ad. Ooh. Okay, so what do we got? Just be a little bit careful on the confirmation though, on the daily. If you're not in it right now, you know, it'll be a really small ad. If we can break and hold above. If you want to look at that, I posted it in the 9437. You can look at the daily as well on the breakout. Just be careful with it. I wouldn't go gung-ho on it, okay? All right, so this is the weekly. Just, you gotta, aren't you having fun? Shout out to Citrini, who basically was a madman on the UNG. I was in UNG as well, but he was doing that, so I let him do it. You know, crude, still fine. We're going higher. Here's gold crude. Actually, let me bring up the, you know what? Let's just move forward. Gold is bouncing. Silver, watch silver, guys. I think there's an opportunity for us. I actually bought some silver, okay? And it's the spots is what I like to buy, okay? All right, let's do it. Dollar, well, markets are up, right? Like I say, I don't like it when we do this, but we're doing it. Transports, this is really, 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 really important. I think we have a meaningful low in the transports, which would be bullish for a more sustainable bounce. Transports against the Dow, starting to get its, you know, this is actually fascinating, right? If you believe in the Dow theory, then I do believe in the Dow theory. So anyways, we'll see how this plays out, okay? It actually is doing okay. And this is a monthly extension that it actually held. Okay, this goes back to 2009, okay? This right here, this is it, okay? Keep an eye on that. The transports against the spies, you know, all of this is showing positive divergence for the market. Here's the transports against the IWM, who knew, right? Transports against the Qs, pulling back a little bit, but that's okay. You know, it's not bad when the transports lead the rally, right? Here's the transports against the FANG. I don't have a problem with that either. Transports FedEx. Okay, so this is really notable. FedEx is actually pretty strong right now. And you can see this because we got a quadruple top in it. You can see that right there. So pulling back. And we would want FedEx. And the reason why I say that is that FedEx led on the downside, right? DAX still range bound on the monthly, nothing there, right? FTSE range bound on the monthly, nothing there. Fez, it's still a shit show, guys. I can't get excited about it. This is the emerging markets, Vanguard. See how that plays out. Here's the EFA. All right, so we basically have to reclaim this pivot idea, friends, and then I can take off my hedges on the EFA, and then I can start adding. Okay, and that's 66.54. No can do right now. EFA, IWM, we want to see this roll over. And the reason why I say that is because we always want the IWM to lead, not the EFA. So when that happens, that means, obviously the IWM has been selling off. All right, so this is the Chinese small caps, ECNS. So what happens here? A little bit of a bottoming formation. Here's EFA against ECNS. Flagging, EFA should continue to rally, right? IWM should continue to rally. CQQQ, okay, keep an eye on this one because we've got a triple bottom in place here on the monthly. This is notable. It's a very well-defined risk reward. And you know me, I like to, and if you go back in time, this is a big deal here. And it's holding, right? So it's maybe worth a shot. We see the QQQ, CQQ starting to roll up. Add the Boyle Queen to the Delta Queen.
All right, Beth, ready to pop on whenever.
All right, my friends, enjoy, have fun.
Thank you so much, guys. Morning, what is going on? Let me just pop up the screen share here and we'll get right into it. So if you guys are new to the chat, make sure to click that Discord link that's emailed to you. Make sure to leave the server first if you came in on the free server and then you're joining the membership, just because I won't assign you the rules unless you do so. So do that and you're good to go. Once you guys do pop into the Discord chat, it looks like this. Let me just bring it up here. First area to go to, guys, and we'll go through this later on when I close down the YouTube stream, is go to the new to chat information section, give that a read, as well as a disclaimer. Otherwise, we'll go through that a little bit later. So pre-market tickers and watch what we got going on today, guys. A couple different things. Tesla, Nvidia, Coin, CLH, U, and Veru. So Tesla gapping up and sympathy to the market, Nvidia gapping up and sympathy to the market. Coin, earnings miss, EPS and revs, year-over-year growth, negative 35.2%, gapping down. CLH, earnings beat, EPS and revs, year-over-year growth 166.6%, gapping up. U, earnings miss, EPS revs in line, year-over-year growth 36.4%. Q2 guidance lowered, stocks gapping down. And then lastly, Veru gapping up. FDA agrees COVID-19 treatment can be submitted for EUA application. So we got a nice little movement on that to the upside. So let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two we'll be starting with today are going to be Tesla and Nvidia. So let's have a look at that. All right, so Tesla, Nvidia, let's have a gander. What do we got going on? So Tesla, basically exact same levels as yesterday, 806.02. Pivots to the upside today off the lows. This level was able to hold during where it's 829.78 to 856.37. Okay. Let's see it a little bit better. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 787.20. That level breaks. You got room for continuation lower towards 769.79 on the downside. Overall on Tesla, going to be leaning bullish neutral. I think it did a pretty good job of holding its range yesterday. We'll see if it can break through the top of the range, get an outside day on it, back to the upside. Yeah, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a hold of pivot, continuation push back to the upside if we can get above last day's high as well. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia here. So Nvidia, guys, obviously been trending to the downside for quite some time on the daily. It's trying to reclaim that range, which is going to be a big level today. Get some EMA resistance in a second. I'm going to go back here. There we go. All right, 179.02 pivot to the upside today. Level's able to hold. You have room for continuation towards 183.13. That level breaks. You can see further continuation into the 187.69 spot. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback on Nvidia to the 175.76 or 175.66 to 172.05. So it's trying to come off the lows right now. It's all going to be about the pivot this morning. If this level can hold up, it can bounce. Otherwise, we'll continue to roll over. So we'll watch that pivot point, reclaim for continuation higher, essentially. So that is Tesla. That is Nvidia. Let's take a screenshot of these two things. Let's move on to the next.
How are you leaning, please?
Oh, leaning on the bullish neutral side as well, Beth.
Thank
Sorry. All right, that's Tesla on the video. Next two guys, Coin and CLH. All right, Coin, CELH. So what's going on here? It's Coin. All right, so yes, all-time lows. Earnings were not good. Let's take a look intraday. I'm just doing some fib extensions to the downside here. Okay, so they are correct, which is good. Not surprised. Okay. Pivot to the downside today, 58.62 levels able to hold, 67.46 to the 74.69 level will be tested. I got to do one intraday here. Give me a tighter level. 54.49. That's better. There we go. 58.62 pivot to the downside today on Coin. This level is unable to hold. Towards 52.02 to 45.96. Able to hold. We look for a push back to 67.46 to 74.69. Going to be leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower there. Ugly looking daily chart. I think you're going to see a continued sell off, maybe some capitulation today. We'll see. All right, so that's Coin. Let's take a look at CELH. Pop up that daily chart here. So not bad, actually. Pretty decent gap back up. It's going to be pushing towards that 50 MA level, looks like. $45.83 pivot to the upside today. Level hold towards 47.87 to 50.08. That level breaks. 53.45 will be tested. Unable to hold 43.73 to 41.54 on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point can hold. That's CELH. That is point. All right, let's take a screenshot of these two. Let's move on to the next. You and Veru. All right, so Unity gapping down. I believe we're at all-time lows. Yes, we are. So similar to coin in that, I got to do some fib extensions here. Tight ones first. So that's low. Cents. This. Okay, that's good. All right, 35.57 pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. We got room for continuation on U to 38.90 to 44.51. Unable to hold 29.54 to 23.06 on the downside will be tested. Overall in Unity, actually going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a bounce higher. If that pivot point can hold this morning, I think we can get a little bit more of a push. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at Veru. A smaller name gapping up. Coming off the lows, former runner, as we can see here. It's actually a pretty nice chart. It's really going to be about if it can hold up. $9.44 pivot level holds towards 10.25 to 11.24. Unable to hold 8.85, 7.81 downside. Overall on Veru, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold today. I do like the daily chart, just a matter of that pivot holding for continuation, like I talked about before. So that's you. That is Veru. All right, let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. $403.04 pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. We got room for continuation into the 405.49 to 407.51. Unable to hold 465 to 398.29 will be tested on the downside. Overall on SPY, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a push higher. If that pivot point can hold this morning, we'll see what happens. It's done a pretty good job of holding up. Last day, obviously inside. Today, we're still inside the range from last day. It's going to be a matter of breaking over that 406 level for obviously a bigger move. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Should be interesting. Didn't really move much on the CPI. So, well, we kind of dipped down, but obviously we're fine now. We'll see what happens. Anywho, that's that. Let's take a look at the rest of the FANG here. So obviously we moved down. Sorry, it's delayed here. You look at this. I'll show you. Main platform right now. There you go. There's that move down. But again, you know, obviously the outside, if we do break the lows, then, you know, we'll sell off more, break the highs, we bounce higher. Going to be leaning on actually sort of on the bearish neutral side of the SPY because of that move. All right, let's take a look at Apple. Just because I like these charts, we're going to pop these out first. Apple pivot on the downside today, 154.94. That level is unable to hold. 153.25 to 151.02. Able to hold. We look for a pushback towards 157.23 to that 158.71 spot on the upside. Overall, Apple going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for a continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. All right, let's take a look at Amazon here. So again, trading your last day's lows. Pivot 21.86.39, levels unable to hold. 21.17 will be tested, able to hold 22.56 to 23.26 on the upside. Overall leaning on the bearish neutral side at the moment. Let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix pivot 170.291, levels unable to hold. 167.41 to the 163.96 will be tested, able to hold. We look for a push back towards the 178.91. That level breaks 185.74 on the upside. Actually, we're leaning on the bullish neutral side of Netflix today, looking for a little bit of a bounce if that pivot point can be held. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Looks like it's getting a decent bounce right now in the pre-market. So after that little dip. All right, let's take a look at Facebook. So Facebook right off the last day's low at the moment. 194, that's just going to be the pivot as well. 194.22 pivot downside, levels unable to hold. 188.84 will be tested. That level breaks. 183.23 able to hold. 203, 206.54 upside. Overall on Facebook leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower. All right, let's take a look at Google here. $23.01.26 pivot, levels able to hold. 23.51 and 23.93 will be tested, unable to hold. 22.48 going to be leaning bullish neutral on Google. We'll see what happens in that regard. All right, let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. Obviously, get that VIX move to the upside there. Doesn't change the pivot. 32.60 today. The level was able to hold. 35.41 will be tested. That level breaks 36.64. All right. Unable to hold 29.98, 28.78 on the downside. Overall, not leading any particular direction, but as always, guys, use this for direction on the market. Let's take a look at the QQQ here. All right, so pivot to the downside today, 304. Levels unable to hold 298.34 to the 294.79. Able to hold 307.36, 312.06 on the downside. Meaning bearish neutral for now at the gate, and then we'll see what happens after the if we do test last day's low. I do think it's going to hold up. We'll probably stay inside, but we'll see. We weren't able to break outside right now on that CPI data. I don't think we're going to. It's going to be my thesis, at least for today. All right, pivot downside on IWM. Let's do this. 174.92, levels able to hold 180.31. Will be tested, unable to hold 171.19 to the 168.55 level on the downside. Overall on IWM, leaning bearish. Going to be looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. Simply put. So that is that. IWM. So let's, because we got a little bit of time here, guys. We'll take a look at some of the crypto. Just first and foremost, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. It's a little bit of a gap up there. It did bounce off of that range level from before. Just way back here. Interesting chart, obviously. Into some monthly range support. Did fill the gap on the upside yesterday when on that little bounce. I'll be looking at that 31,323 as the pivot. And obviously, if it's reclaimed 32,600, then you can get bounced back towards that 3,400 level. Unable to hold through 32 or 30,200 will be retested. Then at that level breaks, you start to get the next leg down into the larger monthly support there at 29,100. And if that level breaks, then you're pretty much off a cliff back into the 24,000s. So that's going to be another key level to keep an eye on in the short term, at least. I'm going to actually just screenshot this and throw it in the chart section, guys, for you. And we can look at Ethereum as well. Might as well. Oops. There you go. ELX.IM. Let's see. So, okay, so breaking a weekly support, 2300, that level was unable to hold 2105, 1994, able to hold, look for pushback towards the 2400 to 2539. Overall, it's bear flag it on the daily, looks bearish. Got to watch that 2300 level though. That's going to be your key pivot. Of course, that is that range support on the daily. So we'll see what happens in that regard, but at the moment I'd be leaning on the bearish side, probably looking for continuation short term. You might get a slight bounce, but it is bear flagging in. That level's been tested a few times the last couple of days without a real bounce off of it. It is holding for now, but I don't think it's going to hold for much longer, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens, I guess. So that is Ethereum. Like I said, just because we got a little bit of time, we'll take a look at Microsoft as well. Just a couple other bigger items that I think makes sense to be aware of where they're at. So Microsoft, let's see here, guys. I think we're good in regards to levels. Sure. Okay, so pivot to the downside today on Microsoft would be the 269.93 levels able to hold 274.45, 278.83, unable to hold 283.60, sorry, 263.77 to that 256.51 level would be tested. So it is leaning bearish. You know, it does look bearish on the daily. I'd be leaning bearish intraday as well. Watching last day's lows. Obviously, if that level breaks, you get your continuation. If it holds up, you hold up. See what happens in that regard. Anyways, that's the SPY. That's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. So I'm going to go ahead, pass it over to South Beach, type up that pre-market action plan, and then we'll come back on after that's done, do a quick little recap, and then we'll close down that YouTube stream and then go through the new to chat information section for all the guys that are new. All right. So without further ado, South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours, and I will talk to you guys in a little bit here.
Okay, guys, let's just jump right into it because there's a lot of stuff today. Okay. All right, the 10 years back above 3%. Okay, the number that came out was kind of disappointing, obviously. 10-year spread. Let's see, 1930, 1925, a little less than yesterday. Rates are up across the board, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, rates are going to be up, right? So let's move on. Okay, let's go to commodities. You got oil up, certain things with Russia, Europe. They're trying to put together some big $250 billion thing to move away from Russian energy, et cetera, et cetera. Prices up on that, but still holding it barely above 100. So that's that. Natural gas is back up on the rise again, 765. So that's pretty strong. Let's see. Gold, you know, the agricultural commodities are back up. Wheat's up, corn's up, sugar's up, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, commodities are up, adding to the problem. Currencies, dollars up against North America, up against the yen, of course, flat against China, and the euro is pretty stable, right? I'm running through this because there's a lot to talk about. Let's look at the European indexes. FTSE was up a bunch. Now it's basically flattish, up 18. DAX is now up, about 1/3%. It was up 1.5%. In Asia, we have China up 1%, Hong Kong about the same, Nikkei up a little bit, nothing major there. Let's look at crypto. Guys, crypto's crashing. Okay. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. My philosophy on crypto has always been the same. These are high PE tech stocks with nobody knows how many shares are outstanding, and nobody knows if or when they'll ever make money. So these are no different than any one of these stupid names. Okay. That being said, a lot of them are tied to these stupid stable coins, and one of them shit the bed this morning, and it's crashing. Basically, the whole infrastructure right now is in a panic mode. You got Ethereum down 11%. You got the FTT down 15%. You got Serum down 25%. You got Solana down 32%. You got Atom down 36%. You got Helium down 32%. You got AR down 22. You got Room down 37. You got Luna down 97%. Make no mistake, guys. Panic mode, crash. This is what a crash looks like, guys. If you never saw one, this is it. Okay, will it last? I have no idea. I have zero money in Bitcoin. I continue to have zero money in Bitcoin until I understand when and if they're ever going to make money. At this point, I don't get it. I still don't get it, and I may never get it, but that's the way it is. Okay, and for those of you that have money in this instrument, my condolences. Okay, I hope you got in a long time ago. but that panic is going to feed into other places because the people who are in this are in other things, and they're in panic mode to preserve wealth. That's how I see it. Okay, I don't even know if you can short these cryptos. I don't think you can. So you have, am I incorrect there, guys? Oh, you can. Okay. Okay, so then there may be, there may be some people that, prop it up a little bit. I don't think the short side is that big. Yeah, you can short Bitcoin, that I know, and Ethereum, but I'm not sure about the others. But okay, whatever. You're telling me the way it is. I believe you. Okay, but anyway, that doesn't take away what I'm saying. It is crashing. Make no mistake about it. Okay, so that's crypto. Okay, banks and Fed. Clearly, the Fed's going to stay tough on inflation. Really, no choice there. China. Scott Gottlieb was on today, and he said unless they start using our vaccines, this is going to be a common occurrence in China where they're going to have to shut things down, and things aren't going to get better anytime fast. People are going to get very sick, et cetera, et cetera. And I think if it continues, it'll be the end of Chi. Okay, they're not going to put up with this shit. Okay, so that's that. All right, Russia, hard line, yada yada, talking tough. We don't want to fight Europe, but they keep saying they want to defeat Russia. We can find other places for our oil. The beat goes on. There's no sign of ending in sight. They know that the U.S. is basically helping, and Europeans are helping Ukraine in a very big way. And, the dislike is going to be around for a very, very, very long time. Nothing's going to change there anytime soon, even if the war were to stop tomorrow, and I don't think it will. Okay, crypto I discussed, the oil market, we know what's going on there. We discussed the virus. We discussed one thing we didn't discuss is Taiwan has a record number of viruses today, 57,000. That cannot be good for the semiconductor sector. Okay, a lot of semis are in Taiwan, et cetera, et cetera. Dollar, we know, Mr. Market. Yesterday, it was kind of flipping, flopping all over the place for today's number. NASDAQ was up 140, SPYs were up minimally, Dow was down a little bit, 100 points. Long side, you had semis and hotels. Short side, you had banks, consumer non-durables, rails, retail, home builders, and utilities. Okay, so you know what I didn't check? I didn't check. Oh yeah, I did check the farm market. I wonder what Taiwan is doing. Let's just see for giggles here. I know. Citrini likes that market, and I want to see how it affected. Down, not that much, just a little bit. But if they go have a bigger problem, I think it'll affect tech semis. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, you saw the numbers this morning. They were kind of shitty. Worse than expectations, right? 0.6 versus 0.4 month-over-month core. Year-over-year 6.2 versus 6. Labor costs were really a highly contributing factor, up 7%. Rent was up a bunch. So it's really wages and rent. There's nothing the government can do about either one of those things. But in my opinion, the number is BS. It doesn't mean diddly squat. If you saw Cooperman last night, it was kind of a clown show with his phone ringing and stuff like that. But believe me, guys, this guy is smart. He's seen it all. And I really agree with him on practically everything he said. So I'm going to recap it. Okay? Is that good with you guys? Because margin calls today should be, not necessarily twins, because it's based on yesterday's close, not where they're trading today. And yesterday they closed slightly higher. So I think tomorrow will be a margin day, not today. Okay, buddy? Okay, good. I think people are going to panic because if they have money in crypto, they're shitting in their pants. But let's go over what Cooperman said, because the guy is super smart. He'd be surprised if we saw a soft landing. I'm just hitting points that he made. Okay. Rates were too low for too long. All right, and our trade deficit went from 20 trillion in 2017 to 31 trillion today. Okay, And so because of that staying so low for so long, inflation really got into the system, and it's going to be very difficult to take it out. Demand was pulled forward by this excess liquidity. I've discussed this a million times. And you see in the high PE tech stocks where they had extraordinary growth, that's where a lot of the demand was pulled forward because people were home using these great apps, and now growth is going to wane. And so that's a problem there. So demand pulled forward hurts current demand. All right. And we'll see that for a while until demand builds up again. He thinks the Fed or oil prices will push us into a recession. He sees a recession in 2023, not 2022. The ultimate low in the stock market will be sometime next year. Labor costs a big problem. He doesn't think these individual numbers mean anything. I 100% agree with that. He says he'd be surprised if the stock market goes higher anytime soon, but you can have given days where they rip your face off, which is what I've been saying about bear market rallies. Buy cheap or value stocks. I agree with that. Two that I like here that I'm on my list. The first two to get on my list are XPO Logistics and FISV. Those are the first two. I don't own anything. I'm 99.9% cash. I have one stock, very small amount, okay, or very small dollar amount. And those are the first two that are on my list. I am not buying any of this dog shit. Okay, these names that are crashing. I want to buy high quality companies with superior management that can navigate any kind of terrain. And those are the first two that I'm putting on my list for buys when I see the time is right. Okay. One of the point he makes, and this is really important, okay, and I think this was the most salient point he made. So in this market, guys, when a number comes out, whether it's okay or bad or just a little good, they smash the stocks, right? That's the environment we're in. All right. News comes out, smash the stocks. Okay. So he's saying when we see bad news and the stock opens down and closes higher, that's the end of the debacle in stocks. And I 100% agree with that. And you guys, you new guys, you should write that down. I'm not playing with you here. This is how you know it's over. Bad news, open lower, closes higher. We had that for 3-4 years. Okay. Now it's exactly the opposite. So when you see that, that's when you know where the bottom is in. Okay. So for you new guys, like I said, I suggest you write that down. That is going to be the telltale that the worst is over. Okay. All right. Another thing I like to do is look at the names of the stocks on the new high and new low list. On the new high list yesterday, we had GIS and every other stock I never heard of. On the new low list, okay, we had SoFi, Upstart, Peloton, Roblox, BHC, Coin, Affirm, Diebold, AZAC, Letter U, NVTX, GoodRx. You get my point. Okay. Anyone, which show on CNBC? The 4 o'clock one, Nancy. Okay. But I think I recapped it pretty good. But if you want to watch it, I get it. Okay. So the names on the short side are much more household names than the ones on the long side. Now, I don't know what the market's going to do today. It may even close higher. I have no idea. But I'm telling you, this market, until you see that thing that Cooperman said, open lower to close higher on the day on bad news, this thing's going lower. Okay. What else? We had some numbers today. Good on the good side. You had Playboy, ELY, Oxy, Real, Win wasn't bad. It's probably down now, flat. I wouldn't invest in Win because I don't know how the relationship with China is going to go. And I think Win's success or failure is contingent on a relationship with China. So I wouldn't buy Win or LVS for that reason alone. Okay, if I was going to buy a gaming name, it would probably be either Penn or MGM, but I wouldn't buy either of those right now either. But I wouldn't buy at Win based on that. No way, no how, no shot. These guys are probably going into Taiwan. And what happens then? What happens to Win's business? That's how I see it. Okay. Veru had positive drug news. Switch got taken over. They told us they would yesterday. That was at a Bloomberg, I believe. Numbers wise on the short side, you had letter U. You had the Grange Grow Generation, nice, $53 to $4, nice trip on that. You had Coin. Where's that trading now? 55 bucks. I guess I shouldn't have sold those 55 puts. Thank God I didn't. Stock goes from 368 to 62. Guys, you ever watch those war movies where the soldiers enter a field and there's landmines in the field? That's the kind of situation we're in now. Okay, there's landmines all over the freaking place. A perfect example is this RDBX. Okay, they couldn't buy it fast enough last week. Traded up to $5 or whatever the hell it was. They just got taken over this morning at 87 cents. I mean, it's, you know, if it wasn't so true, it'd be like a comedy show. Okay. So that's how I see the market. You know, it's landmine after landmine after landmine, and I'm going home flat. That's it. Okay. And there's plenty of volatility intraday that you don't need to be a hero overnight. Okay. So Coin was crappy. ALLY. Bird, that stock's gone from what? From 30 to 12. All birds. Vuzy. So FVVR. The trade desk was crappy. Wendy's was soft. People had no money. Toyota Motor was bad. Roblox was bad. Skin, another one that Kramer was jumping up and down on. This is the best SPAC ever, 30 to 12. How you doing? Rocket, another one, 22 to 7. Another miss there. APP down in sympathy with letter U. They report tonight. So tonight we got APP, we got Disney. Rivian is out tonight. Ford sold 4 million out of what? 8 million out of 100 and something. Believe me, there's 82 million for sale. If they had a bid for 82 million, they'd sell it. I could assure you. If they want to, why would they pick 8? Well, what's the point of picking 8 million shares? Let's talk turkey. They got 100 million for sale behind it. Stay the hell out of Rivian. Okay, so APP, I told you, tomorrow really nothing. You have the first retailer that I've seen in a while, Tapestry and SQSP. Okay, so that's that. How much time do I have? Oh, I'm really running through this fast. Insider buying in Fiserv, which is one of the two on my list. You know, there was a guy on this morning saying some of these stocks are cheap, software and stuff like that. Okay, they were cheap compared to what they were. They'll overshoot on this market downdraft. Okay, so like a fair value on the S&P is a 16 PE historically. They'll probably get down to 14. Okay, and I don't know what that number is on the S&P, but my guess is it goes there, whatever that is. I don't understand the question, if it was meant for me. Okay, research-wise, guys, I've been reading research for 40 years. This is the biggest bunch of crap I've ever seen. So inconsistently bad, so consistently bad that it's laughable. And I look at it this way. Okay, the Wall Street marketing machine wants to take your money, and you can't let them. Okay, you really can't, because these guys are a clown show. I mean, you have guys out there today, Coinbase, he takes his target for 500 to 380. Really? 380? I mean, come on. Is Coinbase ever getting to 380? No. Okay? No, Parry. It's on a consistent basis. When you see stocks open lower on bad news and trade higher, it's not a question of one day, and it's not a question of the S&Ps. When you see individual stocks have bad news and not go down, then you know you're good. Okay, you had bad news today in coin, and you know the names. There's a bunch of them. We'll just look at the low list, okay, that missed earnings. All right, when those kind of stocks close up on the day, not the market having one good day. It's a kind of a consistency that, oh my God, dude, I've seen a lot of bad news and the stocks are closing higher. That kind of thing. It's not the market closed higher today. This is not ending for another year. Please. You're going to have rallies, bear market rallies that rip your face off, but the market's going to be trending lower. What do you think? We have 4 years up and 3 months down? I mean, come on, get a grip. Bear markets last a year. They last longer than they're a lot shorter than bull markets, but then it's not going to be over in 3 months when you have a situation like this with inflation running high and there's nothing the government can do about it except raise interest rates and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, it's going to continue for a while. All right. So you got to trade tight. And when this bear market's over, we will make money hand over fist. Okay. So the research is, Peloton, I mean, 45 to 18. Some guys still have $50 targets. BHC, another one, 25 to 12. One point that I thought was interesting, Citibank made. They said, or Smith Barney, they said they see significant weakness in laptop demand. So that's going to be a negative for Intel and AMD. I thought that was the most important thing that I read today. But by and large, these guys have no idea what they're talking about. Okay, all they do is move numbers around when earnings come out, and they go from some ridiculous pie in the sky number to another ridiculous pie in the sky number. Okay, so it's an ugly situation, but it's very tradable with lots of volatility and a huge amount of range. Okay, and I welcome the day where this ends and we can just buy stocks, sit back and smoke a cigar while we make a fortune. That day will come sooner than later. But for now, this is the situation we're in. And be careful with this MSTR, okay? If they have a margin call, all hell will break loose in Bitcoin, even worse than it is. Okay, and that's it for me, guys. I have no good news for you. Market may go up today. I have no idea. Trade what you see, but stay light overnight. Stay light overnight. That's a good little paraphrase. Spartan, it's all yours.
All righty, thank you, South Beach guys. Morning, what's up? What is going on? Let's do a quick little recap of what we talked about this morning. If you guys are watching the pre-market stream via YouTube, here is the pre-market notes. Whoa, right there. Take a look. You can pause it and give them a read, of course. And then on the option side, same thing. All right, pre-market tickers on watch. Let's take a look at what we got going on today, guys. A couple different things. Tesla, Nvidia, coin, CLHU, Veru. Obviously a bunch of stuff is gapping down now with sympathy of the market, like Tesla and Nvidia. It's gapping down now with sympathy of the market. Coin gapping down, earnings miss, EPS and revs, year-over-year growth, 35.2% down. CLH earnings beat, EPS and revs, year-over-year growth, 166.6%. Stocks gapping up. Earnings miss, earnings miss revenue and EPS in line, year-over-year growth, 36.4%. Q2 guidance lowered, stocks gapping down on that. Then lastly, Veru, FDA agrees. COVID treatment can be submitted for EUA application, and stock was gapping up on that. Still is holding okay at the moment. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, first two we're going to be looking at today are Tesla and Shop. So Tesla Shop, Tesla 806.02 pivot to the upside today. This level was able to be reclaimed, room towards 829.78 to 856.37. Unable to hold 787.20 to 769.76 on the 79, sorry, on the downside. Overall on Tesla, was leaning on the bullish neutral side. If you can get back above the pivot, of course, will be leaning bullish, but right now it looks like a bearish type move. Only positive I can see going on right now is it's holding last day's low. So I'd be looking for a bounce this morning on it, and then we'll see what's what. Shop, same thing. 337.19 pivot level holds, 365.53 to 389.55. Unable to hold 319.92 to 306.87. We'll watch that last day low. If it holds up, we can get a bounce. Coin and CELH. So coin gapping down, of course, after the earnings. 58.62 pivot to the downside today. Levels unable to hold. 52.02 to 45.96 will be tested. Able to hold. 67.46 to 74.69 on the upside. Overall on coin leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower today. CLH 45.63 pivot level holds. 47.87 to 53.45. Sorry, to 50.08 will be tested. Unable to hold. 43.73 to 41.54 on the downside. Overall on CELH, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a reclaim the pivot and a push higher today. Let's take a look at you. Let's take a look at Veru. You 35.57 pivot, levels able to hold 38.90 to 44.51. Unable to hold 29.54 to 23.06 downside. Overall on you, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side. I was leaning bullish earlier if the pivot can get reclaimed, but it's clearly breaking down on the bear flag. So going to be leaning bearish now on it, unless that pivot's reclaimed. Veru pivot 9.44, level holds 10.25, 11.24, unable to hold 8.55 to 7.81. Going to be leaning bearish on, or sorry, bullish on that name. Today held up well on the pullback of the market, so I like that. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. I get the lower end levels here now. Might as well change the pivot too. And we'll keep it actually. It bounce back up to 398. Okay. Whatever. SPY 403.04. Pivot to the downside today. This level is unable to hold. Into the 398.29. Support. Breaks, we see the 396, then 394.13. It holds room higher into the, I doubt it gets it back up here, into the 405.49 to the 407.51 resistance. I could see a pivot reclaim on the open, but I'm not sure it's going to be able to break through it. So I'm going to be looking for a little bit of a bounce out the gate, but going to be leaning bearish overall. So leaning bearish. Bounce out gate and looking for a rollover. That's what I think is going to occur. And that's what I'll be looking for. So that's a SPY. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple pivot to the downside today, 154.94 levels unable to hold, 153. So 150, yeah, 153.25 to 151.02 will be tested, able to hold 157.23 to 158.71 on the upside. Overall, can be leaning on the bearish side there for now. Let's take a look at Amazon. Pivot to the downside today. 21.86 levels unable to hold, 21.17 will be tested, able to hold 22.56 to 23.26 on the upside. Overall, going to be leaning bearish there. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot downside today is going to be the 172.91 levels unable to hold, 167.41 to 163.96, able to hold 178.81, sorry, 91 to 185.74. Going to be leaning on the bullish side of that name today, actually. Let's take a look at Facebook. So Facebook pivot to the downside today is going to be the 194.22 levels unable to hold, 188.84 to 183.23, able to hold 203, 206.54, leaning bearish neutral on that name today. Let's take a look at Google. She held up okay for the most part. Google pivot 23.01 levels unable to hold, 22.48 to 22.07, able to hold 23.51 on the upside. I'm leaning bullish neutral on that. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. So VIX, a little bit of a pop, of course. 32.60 pivot level holds, 35.41 to 36.60, unable to hold 29.98 to 28.78 on the downside. QQQs. 304 pivot levels unable to hold 298.34, 294.79, unable to break or unable to hold that. 288.27 will be tested. We'll get time poster today. Able to hold, like I said, 307.36, 312.06 on the upside, leaning bearish. You get a little bit of bounce out the open, and then we look for a rollover as well. And IWM going to be leaning the exact same way. Pivot on the downside, 174.92. Level holds one room towards 180.31, unable to hold 171.19, 168.55. So the question for me is going to be, or the question in general, I think is, how long does that bounce last? If it does happen this morning, and yeah, play it. I think the way to trade today is just like we've been trading the entire week. We're pretty much range bound for the most part the last couple of days. Trade light in the morning. Make sure you're moving your stops up quickly on calls or puts, whatever you're on. And same with the equity side, if you're long or short, move your stops down if you're short, up if you're long. When you're taking profits, do it quicker. And I think you don't have to be full size. It'd be a little bit lighter, treated as scalps for the most part. You got to be nimble in this market. You're not getting fall through one way or the other. You're kind of getting these range bound moves. So what you can do, and what I've been doing as well, is trading that reversal of the range, like off the lows. If you use a short time frame, you're using EMA crosses or short-term downtrend breaks, uptrend breaks, whatever. It's a decent way to trade. Anyways, that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close down the YouTube stream here, and we'll talk to you shortly. If you have